Imagine this. You've spent your whole life mastering a video game. You know every level, power up, and cheat code by heart. But suddenly, the game changes. The rules are different, the goals have shifted, and those trusty power ups? Useless. That's pretty much what it feels like for my generation, Gen Z, in today's classrooms. We're the generation that grew up with Google in our pockets, where everything is instant: food, entertainment, even friendships. But in school, it feels like trying to play a PS5 game on a Nintendo 64. The graphics don't match up, the controls are way outdated, and the experience, well, it's just not what we expect. Now, think about your favorite video game for a second. It's not just about completing one mission, right? You've got multiple missions and side quests and the main storyline. You're balancing it all. Now, swap those quests for homework, extracurriculars, and college applications. That is our reality. We're constantly trying to level up in every aspect of our lives, and school is just one of many levels that we're trying to conquer. But when the rewards aren't as satisfying, it's really hard to stay motivated. Also, in every video game, every action has a purpose. You're collecting items, you're solving puzzles, or you're defeating the bad guys. It all moves the story forward. But in school, it often feels like we're just collecting information without knowing why. It's like being handed a sword without a quest. We need a reason to fight, a reason to care. We want to know how what we're learning actually connects to the real world. Also, we're not just playing to win. We're playing to figure out who we are. We're all going on our own epic quests, trying to be the main character in our stories. But often it feels like we're stuck, on the same level, not sure which path to take next. College, career, gap year maybe? The options are overwhelming, and the stakes are way too high. Now, I can practically hear your thoughts. Oh great, another Gen Zer complaining about school, right? But hear me out for a second. I'm not here to ask for a handout. I'm simply here to ask for a partnership. I want to be an active participant in my education, not just a passive receiver. So, how can we make education a game worth playing? Well, first off, one of the biggest challenges that we face in school is seeing how what we're learning actually connects to real life. When we see the practical side of things, we're so much more ready to get involved. I mean, think about learning algebra and seeing how those concepts help solve everyday problems. Look, maybe I still won't be able to understand it, but I'm hopeful that others will. Or learning history and seeing how past events have shaped today's world. When we find the relevance in things, it's like finding that hidden storyline in a game. It just makes everything click. Also, have you noticed that when you're playing a video game, you get instant feedback, whether it's a power-up or a game over screen? In school, feedback should be just as immediate and helpful. When we get timely and specific feedback, we know where we are and where we need that metaphorical power-up, or literal, I don't judge. Also, have you noticed that when you're in a game, you often team up with other players to help fight the bad guys, right? School should also be just as interactive and collaborative, not just a one-way lecture. Because when we learn through group projects or hands-on activities, we're so much more susceptible to what is actually being taught. And also, it's just more fun. But to be honest, the having fun part has happened to me now. As a kid, I was pretty bossy and I hated working in group projects. Like, I would just prefer to do everything on my own. But, as I've grown up, I've realized that you can't possibly do everything on your own and still be able to maintain your sanity. And that brings me to mental health. Schools that prioritize mental health really help us out. Because the pressures of being a student today can be like trying to juggle flaming swords while riding a unicycle. It's a lot. But when schools provide us with stress management resources or create a truly positive atmosphere, we can do more than just get by. we can actually have fun and succeed along the way. So, who exactly can update the game of education? Here's where you come in. Educators, students, communities, and everyone in between. We all have a role to play in making this vision come to life. Now, I know this might sound like one of those epic quests where you have to slay the dragon and save the kingdom and somehow do it all before dinner. But here's the good news. We don't need to be heroes. We just need to be players willing to try out a new strategy. And who knows, maybe one day we'll look back and say, remember when school felt like a grind? Yeah, me neither. So, are you ready to play? Thank you.